All right, we are finally live after days of attempts, multiple locations. Clem is at the park making it happen with his kids on the diamond. This is the first ever, we got to believe, on the baseball diamond where, if you're out on a baseball field right now, you could probably play for the Marlins. So maybe we'll see you this weekend. Now, I've said this several times. You may have heard this in one of our past attempts, but here's where I'm at. And it's inspired by Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank came into my life a few years ago, and he gave me a lot of entertainment. He also gave me some perspective and let me realize that maybe being overly negative about the Mets is not the way to live, and that it can be pretty overbearing for people when you're constantly negative. Now, I feel like I don't take it quite as far as Frank the Tank, but I recognize that I'm right behind him. I'm on his heels. And so I started to think maybe just constantly being down on the team, while I do feel justified, is not the best way to do it. And so now, I consulted pretty early, very early. And it's a season where half the fucking league makes the playoffs. And if we have a good weekend here against the Marlins, we could look up on Monday and just be a 500 team who's very much in the mix. So maybe this is finally the year where the console is wrong. And I guess I'm going to believe. Ugh, I don't know. I really don't want to, but I guess so.
We may have to start calling that the B word, just so that
the
we
B
don't
word,
yeah. The C word is console, I guess, which is a whole other discussion. The B word is believe. I think the most important thing is let's just have some fun with this. It's season's fraudulent anyway. Uncle Stevie is coming. So let's have some fun. Now, listen, do not get it twisted. The first week, 2 weeks, whatever, I don't know how long it is right now. You could tell me it's June or September, I believe you. The first 2 weeks of this season filled an entire 162 game schedule with chaos, losses, drama. I mean, we honestly added like 3 spaces to the Mets misery bracket for like future things. The Yoenis Cespedes thing is like, that is a power conference, like top 3 team right there in my mind in future Mets misery brackets. What he did to like how that whole thing, they thought he was fucking, we thought Yoenis Cespedes was dead. Exactly 1 week ago from today, we thought Yoenis Cespedes was fucking muerte. Think about that for a second, Kevin. What the fuck kind of season is this right now?
It is. Now that's a testament to how like Yo is problematic. It's also a testament to how fucking battered and crazy we are. That it's like, oh, something went wrong. Maybe they're fucking dead. But that's who we are as a fan base, and that's what we've been put through. So you're right. I mean,
Don't discount the franchise too, because like the way that they handled all that is not how most franchise I think would have handled. And plus, like it's COVID, so there's no reporters in the clubhouse to kind of get the story. Maybe talk to Brandon Nimmo, who says I heard he might have opted out. That would have happened in like a normal world or a normal franchise. We got none of that, and we just had basically. I almost got canceled for a Lion King joke. Think about that. I almost got canceled for a Lion King joke.
That's the chaos we lived in. I mean,
2020, baby.
The Edwin Diaz blown saves, the Cespedes situation. We had a couple classic Mets moments in just a matter of 2 weeks. So, I do think that we've seen what the rotation is going to look like and what the bullpen is going to be, and I do think we're going to have a lot of problems this year. But then again, Rick Porcello goes out there the other night and throws a gem against the defending champs, and it's like, all right, if that's going to happen, then anything can happen. So maybe I jumped the gun. Let's hope. I feel like we have a perfect threesome here of, I'm the negative, you're in the middle, and then Kyle's just like the dumb fucking doe-eyed optimistic idiot. So we'll see, where it plays out, and hopefully it's closer to Kyle and Clem, further away from me. And this weekend will be a big step because I think the Marlins they have no business winning, and they just kind of keep doing it. So. If we get beat up by the Marlins this weekend, it's going to be tough for me to keep my cool. But maybe we just handle our business and come out of this thing 8-8, and with a season where fucking 15 teams are going to be making the playoffs, I would hope we'd be one of them.
Can we B word by the end of it? Like again, like last season, I feel like the entire season flipped on like it was like 9 games between like the Marlins and Royals or something like that. And everyone bought in, Scooter and the big man, all this kind of shit. And then they won some games against good teams too, but you have to get that, you have to light the fire. All we need is like Pete to drop one fuck bomb, and then we'll be like, up, he's getting hot. That was just the beginning of the season slump, and that's all it's going to take. I can see our fucking relapse from a mile away. That's why we're all in this goddamn fucking Mets Fans Anonymous support group together, because we know when we relapse, we can see how it's going to happen, and we know what the recovery is going to be like when we hit rock bottom again. And like,
it's all going to be about Alonso. If Alonso goes on a tear, and then because like Conforto's been hitting, JD Double Davis has been hitting. Gimme Jimmy is a nice surprise. Like there's been decent signs of the offense, but they haven't fully broken out because it feels like they're always lacking that one big slugger or that one big hit in the rally. And if Pete Alonso goes back to his old self and does that, it's going to go a long way. And I think that'll have me right back in if Alonso goes back to last year. And I really hope he does, because it's tough right now. He's hurting in a bad way right now. And he's that dude who we kind of need for not only on the field purposes, but for off the field, like shit talking, confidence purposes as fans. It's tough when like the dude that you penciled in. I always prepared for a big regression. I didn't think he was gonna hit 50 again. Yeah. And I don't know. By the way, because there's been so much other shit, I haven't heard much. But are we still juicing the balls?
Ooh, I don't know what the numbers are like. I don't know if
because that was a big part of Alonso. I think like he hits balls a mile, but I do think he benefited quite a lot from the goose ball. So I was thinking like either maybe that's part of the reason why he's slipping. Maybe it's just an early season thing, or maybe we're unfortunately going to see a big time sophomore slump. But if he can get back on track and give you the equivalent of what would be like a 30 home run season, I think it would go a long way for fan confidence.
They're not juicing them in our games. We're getting the balls that from fucking like 1910 or something like that, because fucking 3-1, 4-2. Those aren't juice ball games, no matter what. Because it seems like last year, the shit was flying over the fence. But yeah, I'm not sure what the exact numbers are saying. And again, anyone who says either way, you'll have the people jumping down their throats saying small sample size. It's like, that's all this season is
a small sample size
season.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if Jimenez starts putting balls over the fence, then I think we know that we've got a juice ball situation. That dude is Allen Iverson-esque.
His like they have like all like we've been like with Alonso and all the guys who match the StatCast, the exit velo, all this stuff. We're getting like sprint scores now.
I know.
Like we're fucking rechanged the game, which I mean we could go back if we want to talk about our boy Jose retiring. It feels like that shit all over again. We're talking about a side of the game that like nobody talks about with Gimme Jimmy back in our lives. Like and again, they need to change that number. That number is an ugly, bad number. You have to put on spring training clothes with a Mr. Met on the hat and an orange jersey if you're going to keep him that, because it's a fucking clown show. It's not a good look for us when a guy like that is starting for your team.
I think that, I don't think we ever expected it to be starting, significant innings, but he is. So give him a fucking new number. You don't have to give him like a prime number, but we don't need fucking 73 out there. Give him Reyes' number. I don't fucking care. Reyes is done. Officially announced his retirement, which is more like, are you really retiring when it's like, the last few years nobody wanted you? Like if it was up to him, he'd still be playing. It's more like he chose for you that you retired, but it's rap for Jose.
Yeah, I think like he announced his retirement last week. Baseball announced his retirement 2 years ago at the end of the 2018 season when they're like, no. And then when he couldn't get signed by decimated teams with like 100-man rosters and the Marlins, who have just picked up like 7 different like groups of players nonstop just to like keep filling in for COVID. I think once like the last fucking guy filled the Marlins spot, who a place Jose obviously played, he's like, all right, it's time to call it a career. It's really interesting though, man, because David Wright was always my favorite player, so it's not even a slight on Jose from back in the day. But Jose Reyes was like at his peak, one of my like 5 favorite players ever, and on the Mets. And it's just crazy. Like, cause now the first thing I think of him, like, I just have this awful feeling in my stomach. I think of the domestic violence incident, and I think of like the last like 2 years of just shit that he gave us. And it kind of like, I feel like a lot of Mets come back to the team. Like Roger Cedeno, He came back. He sucked. I didn't think about that magic when we found Roger Cedeno as this lottery card that we got, and then we ended up moving him from my camp. We always do this with guys. We bring him back. It's the Wilpon way. We bring back these retread vets. No one in the universe was going to sign Jose Reyes after that fucking domestic violence call, and then we just brought him back. So Professor Reyes, I mean, I love Professor Reyes. That's a no fair. You speak Spanish. It was the most consistent laugh you could get in fucking life at that point. Everyone would just have fun. These people were fucking cinturón. They were hitting the R. They were rolling the R's, hitting the accents. And it was always just a fun time. These guys trying to get one over on Professor Reyes. I don't think so. It was such a good time. He ran the bases. I always say Peter Gammons and all those old dinosaurs used to come themselves. He hit the way him hitting a triple is the most beautiful play in baseball. And then it just ended with him. I mean, the most fitting image of him, his Mets 2.0 career, is on the mound just getting fucking walloped over the wall in fucking, what was it, Philly, right? When he just he gave him more runs in that game than he had RBIs at that point of a season. That was our boy Bailey Carlin had that one out back in the day. And I was like, that is just an indication of where Jose was and the Mets were in their that point of life. So I don't know. What do you think about Jose? What was your feelings on him when it's all said and done now?
I mean, I remember the fond times of when he was coming up with Wright. I remember thinking this is our A-Rod. We've got a guy at shortstop. Here, Clem, while I'm talking, mute your phone because it clicks, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I remember him coming up, and I remember the triples. I remember him hitting the shit out of the ball. I remember thinking that while the new Citi Field fucked over David Wright, it was probably pretty great for Reyes with those gaps. But we botched it as well as an organization when they let him walk and didn't trade him coming off of a batting title. That was, it should have either been let's trade him for a boatload of prospects and get something for him, or let's re-sign him. I think in the end, obviously, the Marlins giving him $100 whatever million contract, they were the suckers. That was a bad move. But I think it could have been Reyes was always different in New York. So I think had he played out all his years here and we handled him differently, I think it could have been a different story. But at the end of the day, it'll be like every other Met. It'll be like every other prospect. Wright was more injury than anything. I think Reyes was more attitude, but didn't pan out to be what he should be. But when he was good, he was fucking good. I mean, at the top of that lineup, when we had a good team, he was electric. And the Jose chants were great. But that all gets erased when you throw your fucking wife through a door, man. I mean, it just does. There's no I kind of, when he came back to the Mets, I remember writing a blog saying sports is weird, where people have domestic incidents, they have drug incidents, they have violence incidents. It just happens. And we're not here for morality. We're not here for role models. We're just here to watch and be entertained and hopefully win. So I'm not going to cheer for him and make him my number one guy. But if the team signs him and he's cleared and he's, allowed, it is what it is. But now that it's over, I can look back and say, ended up being a fucking scumbag, never really reached his potential, and certainly didn't do anything for us the second time around. So, good riddance, man.
Yeah, it was also just the way it, like you said, the way it all played out. And, like I said, when people are oh, should the Mets bring him in or whatever? I'm like, well, either if you don't think if no one should sign him, then you're saying if you get any kind of arrest, whether in a bad arrest, that's an awful thing. Is he banned from baseball? Because that's essentially right. What you're saying. Either way, or can a guy become better for it? There are guys who have done that. And then it's just a sticky situation in all aspects of life. If you're at a cube job and you have someone who does that, should they get fired and never hired again, and they have to, make it. It's a whole other thing. So, the Jose chant, that'll probably be my legacy for Reyes, just because I'll tell you, man, I just love fucking chanting. I used to go to the bars, I'd be banging on the walls, Jose. So that was kind of my thing. And another thing about Jose wasn't that kind of what put our boy Darren on the map with the don't trade Jose stuff and keep Jose. So if Reyes' legacy is launching the 7 line, that's a pretty decent legacy to have when it's all said and done, right?
Well, I mean, the legacy you would prefer is win a fucking World Series, win an MVP. But if you win a batting title and launch the 7 line, I guess that's a decent bronze medal, we'll call it. But I mean, I saw it today. I think it's the anniversary today, or I don't know if it's the anniversary or if they just posted it today but I think Mets Throwbacks posted David Wright's walk-off. His first walk-off home run, I think, was today in 2006. 2-run shot that over the Padres. And I was just thinking, God damn, better fucking days, man. Better fucking days. There was when I had that thought that we just had the left side of the infield taken care of for the next fucking decade plus. And we just didn't. We didn't do it. Not at all.
It's like a different franchise too, because at that point we were spending on guys like Delgado and Beltran, and we could fill out a spot in the rotation. We trade for guys like Leiter, but that's even back further. But you were making moves, you're getting Pedro and all this kind of stuff, and then obviously Madoff is kind of the X factor and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if I was ever as excited, and I think this kind of shout out to our guy Matt Cerrone. I mean, I was addicted to Mets blog during, the early 2000s, and that kind of what made me, I think, kind of the fan I am today in terms of the way I think, and I guess kind of what probably led to Barstool. I'm sure that kind of changed the way you used to go on the internet, right? I'm sure that was up there with Barstool and Take a Report back in the day.
Mets blog with the excerpt from the news, and then his commentary in like bold italics with like the ... And I mean, there was just so much news to report on because we were constantly wheeling and dealing. We were signing guys, we were trading guys, we were getting better. And I remember the day that the Delgado rumors were really heating up, the Delgado Mike Jacobs trade rumors. I remember being like refresh. And when that deal happened, Matt Cerrone is a Mets legend, and I don't blame him for getting the bag with SNY. But once Mets blog sold to SNY, it was a fucking wrap. And I think actually just recently, they SNY put an official end to it. They took it off of their banner or their headline or whatever it was. So I think just this year was the official end of Mets blog. But if you're our age or from our era, Mets blog, and that's like a secret code word. Like if you have a Mets club, I say Mets blog, you say Matt Cerrone, and I know you're good people.
Yeah, I remember the fan confidence graph. Remember that? And
the fan confidence graph. I remember it being sky high and just plummeting down. Oh, fuck. Great.
Yeah. I think we've talked in the past, and obviously with the way this pod works, this has been such a fucking crazy year. Season and whatever. I mean, this pod has only been around for only a little more than a year at this point. You forget it.
We've covered a lot. We've been through a lot already.
We've been through a lot, but hopefully, 2021, we have a hard reboot. Stevie's in, whole team kind of starts fresh, and we start doing some of the things we want to do if COVID ever decides to leave our country, or at least be managed. And I think we always talk about different guests we want to have on, and not even fucking Keith Hernandez, of course. We love that Keith. But guys who are huge parts of our heart and soul that aren't fucking former or future Hall of Famer. It's Matt Cerrone would be someone I'd love to have on the pod just to talk about those days. I can only imagine. The grind of the blog life. Blog life back in 2006 as you're doing Met shit, and that's it started as a school project to kind of blowing up, and then he sees this rise with, I can't even imagine if you're building this site and then you see Jose Reyes come up, David Wright, everyone's hitting Delgado, Beltran, fucking Pedro, all this kind of stuff. It was a magical time, man.
Could you imagine what we just described really was a magical team? But if you're a good franchise like the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Dodgers, you get teams like that all the time. That happens all the time. They never stop signing big names. They never stop making big moves. They retool, they rebuild, they reload. We have one time in history with one group of people that we regard as that team. Imagine if that happened in 06 and then again in 09 and then again in 12 and then again in 14 and now in 18 and now in 20. I mean, it should keep happening, and it will when Uncle Stevie shows up. How about that fucking lunatic Laura Goldman? Did you see her retire from Twitter last night?
Yeah. She our boy Joe DeMeo, PSL the Flushing. Apparently he's starting. It's like East Coast. I feel like I'm watching the Source Awards go down on Twitter right now. The Met Source Awards are going on. What the fuck is going on here? But
Joe DeMeo from SNY. He's sick of Laura Goldman weighing in on the Mets sale. Says she's not a real reporter. Don't listen to her. I don't know. I mean, that sounds like a guy who's a little angry that a quote unquote not real reporter is the one getting the scoops and getting the attention.
But she also blocked him though. She blocked him because she said he was using her scoops and reporting it as his own, but it was in Forbes. It's a whole tangle.
I mean, listen, until She hasn't really. Here's the thing about the declared queen of Mets Twitter. We really created a monster on this one, Clem. I mean,
yeah, that was us. We called her the
Yeah.
policey and all that stuff. And
Absolutely.
I've since gone silent ever since other things have come out. You know,
Yeah, once you
not-
start co-signing Epstein and Maxwell, I'm out on you.
Yep.
But I will listen. Facts are facts, and if you've got them about the Steve Cohen sale, then I'm gonna listen. But here's the thing: she never really said anything concrete, right? Like, what was her big? Like, did she ever have a big scoop? I feel like you had the big scoop.
I mean, we had the big thing with him being out. She said he was coming back in.
We all kind of said that, and then it materialized. I'm just saying, like, I don't think she's been right about anything. I don't think she's been wrong about anything. I think she's been speculating, and then some things have started to materialize, and she speaks very confidently as if she has inside sources and knows what's going on. But at the end of the day, her inside sources just keep saying that Steve Cohen wants the team, which I think, like, we all fucking know that. My sources say that. We'll find out when the deal, whichever way, whoever ends up buying it, we'll find out what Laura Goldman really knows. Because when it finally officially happens, we'll see if she's got the scoop a couple days early or whatever it may be. Until then, I just don't think it's also worth like Joe DeMaio being like, fuck this chick. It's like, I don't know. Fucking relax here. But her being like, I'm exhausted, I need a break. Like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? You're exhausted. Why don't you talk to some people who have some real problems? One guy on Twitter said you're not a good reporter. Fuck off.
She said the Mets Twitter didn't have her back, which, I mean,
oh my God.
Mets Twitter, I mean, we're all just a bunch of fucking junkies just fucking licking our wounds in the corner. We're not looking to get you. Now, if Laura Goldman had said, was in a fight with someone about Pete Alonso last year or something, everyone would have her back. That's just what we do. But right now, we're just like, give us fucking Stevie. He is our savior. You have our savior's phone number in your phone. Just let us know when he's ready to go.
Right.
So we're moving into the dugout right now for this part of the game. This
is like post game with Clem in the dugout. I love it. Cohen, we said, I don't even know. I guess we haven't said this yet on today's episode. 0.72, which is Steve Cohen's like subsidiary, if you will. I don't know. It's like his own personal version of SAC Capital, is no longer taking on outside investors, no longer taking on any investors, any more money, which a lot of people, I think, are taking that to be a signal that he's getting ready for this Mets sale. Like, I'm not taking on any more responsibility because I got to worry about this. I don't know. I think that's totally like pure speculation. There's a million reasons right now why someone might switch up their investment, schedule, the fucking pandemic, the stock market, whatever. I'm hoping it means, I got to get all my ducks in a row for this sale. But I don't think we can confidently say that. But I just like seeing some sort of movement from Cohen. I like seeing something happen because silence scares me. And I get worried about this just like petering out and fizzling out. And so hopefully it does mean something. And hopefully it means he's mobilizing. And hopefully we hear soon. He's notoriously quiet. We don't know his voice. We don't know. He doesn't release statements. We don't hear from him. And that's just the way it's going to be. I take that to mean like, oh no, he's not going to do it anymore. But that's just the way he operates. So hopefully he like makes a statement or something soon, because I'm starting to get scared.
Yeah, no, me too. And Harris and Blitzer, it sounds like they may not have they may still be looking for other investors and shit, which is crazy. I saw A-Rod and J-Lo took a tour of Citi Field, and they want to turn the Mets dugout potentially into some like reality show, which again kind of harkens back to the point we might be getting like the circus A-Rod instead of like the cool anti-villain, anti-hero A-Rod that everyone's
have we talked about A-Rod and his divorce settlement?
I didn't even hear about this.
So A-Rod might no longer have the money. This is the craziest shit I've ever fucking heard. They ruled down in Florida that his ex-wife's brother is also entitled to like a divorce settlement. It's fucking insanity. It's
Cousin Yuri? Is it Cousin Yuri? That's an in-law.
No, hang on.
I love Cousin Yuri. You know me. I love Cousin Yuri. That's my fucking guy.
Listen to this shit. It's nuts. So A-Rod's been divorced for a long time now. I mean, a while. And his brother, where is it? No, this isn't right. All I know is that they ruled recently that her brother is entitled to like recoup money from their business doings when he was married. And it's like, what the fuck? How, like, if I had to pay my ex-brother-in-law over this shit, I would be like, absolutely not. But they said that the ruling could be that it leads to another lawsuit where the damages or the payment could be up to like $50 million, and that A-Rod might not have enough money. Let me try to find out while you talk.
This is going back to this old, like, new A-Rod doesn't have that shit happen to him. Old A-Rod, who's fucking purple lips with his blue sweater, lying to Peter Gammons, lying to fucking Mike, lying to the goddamn world. And he always makes a worse mess of itself. Again, if you haven't watched Screwball on Netflix yet, you have to watch it because it makes A-Rod and Manfred look like the fucking clowns they are. This is the A-Rod we're getting. So if that old, clumsy, bumbling A-Rod is the thing that fucks this all up and prevents him from owning the Mets, I'll take it. I don't want that guy anywhere near my franchise. Or if this just means Rapoli kicks him the fuck out, takes Jetty from the block on his team, gets a couple of fucking athletes on, and Portnoy, I'm fine with it. But that's only, again, if Uncle Stevie falls apart, who Uncle Stevie is the all-time mystery voice right now. Like, Mike Tyson was the baddest motherfucker in the 80s. I didn't know what he sounded like. Then I heard the interview. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like Michael Thomas. We hear Michael Thomas talking, you're like, what the fuck? And if Uncle Stevie is like, hi, I'm Uncle Stevie, talks like Mickey Mouse, it's going to fucking put my brain in a blender because he is like Thanos in my mind. He's become Thanos. Every fucking meme we make of him is him snapping away half of the universe. And if he has Mickey Mouse voice, I'm not going to be able to handle it.
Listen to this. So he's been in a 5.5-year battle with a former brother-in-law. Jesus. And the Florida Circuit Judge announced that they're going to allow punitive damages to be added to the lawsuit over A-Rod's past real estate partnership with Konstantin Skirtis, who is the brother of A-Rod's ex-wife, Cynthia. So, like, a lot of people in, like, the law world are like, this is very unusual. It's very unusual that a judge permitted Skirtis' attorneys to add a claim for punitive damages. A Florida judge is only going to allow a complaint to be amended and include punitive damages if that judge believes there's a reasonable basis from the evidence gathered that the plaintiff can establish a really bad conduct by A-Rod. Now, I mean, A-Rod has been known at times to do some shady shit and not operate exactly like the way you're supposed to. So if they can go prove that, like, he had business dealings with his ex-wife's brother, that fell apart, then the divorce fucked it all up, he might owe, I think the lawsuit I read was $50 million. So, you know, if you're trying to buy a team and all of a sudden, you know, you get hit with a big chunk of money there. So more like obstacles for A-Rod, and I feel like there's already quite a bit. Like, just let's fucking end this, man. I mean, I can't believe, by the way, do you remember when they said that they wanted to start this process in July so they would have it wrapped up by January? I mean, if we're do this through January, I feel like it's coronavirus. Like, we're still gonna be doing this like 6 months from now. Let's just end this shit, buy the team, let's move the fuck on.
I've just had an elevated heartbeat ever since he's negotiated. Like, you don't even notice it. It's like the sound of the generators in the background. I've just tuned it out by now, but I've just had an elevated heartbeat for months because of this shit. I just need it to be over so that I can just go back to resting heartbeat and then, like, you know, the Mets just gutting me once every 3 days or so. I can get back to that kind of life with my baseball team. A-Rod, just get the fuck out of this thing. People are talking about, like, the owners don't know if they want Steve Cohen because he might, like, drive up the prices. The owners are not going to want Alex Rodriguez, who sued Major League Baseball, has, like, pending lawsuits, is losing money. Just get out of here. They want the guy who has more than $13 billion to put a huge fucking bag of money on the table.
Other owners are going to want the guy who has a fuck ton of money, who overpays, who makes every franchise more valuable, who's going to spend money, make TV ratings go up, like rising tides, man, all fucking ships. It is insane to think that other owners are going to want this, like, weird conglomerate from Philly or this fucking celebrity circus with A-Rod and the Plumleys and all that shit. No way.
A-Rod and the Plumleys.
Fucking way.
A-Rod and the Plumleys is the newest book from fucking the Chronicles of Narnia. A-Rod and the Plumleys. That's a fucking crew right there. Fucking misfit fucking group. God damn it. Rapoli, get out of that fucking tag team with Stevie Cohen. So you can get a little
winning team, right? Come on over here. Then you guys could be a fucking tag team from hell. You guys could run this shit. As far as the real team, the current team, Where do you stand? Are you feeling any more confident, or like you said, relapse coming, but you know that ultimately this team is going to be heartbreak?
Yeah, this is the thing that happens to us. I mean, basically since we started the podcast, there's just so many guys on the team you like or are good or both. Like Michael. Like, how am I going to not like root for Michael Conforto? I fucking love the guy.
Yeah.
Jacob DeGrom once every 5 days. The bullpen just hangs over this team though, like it has last year. Like it is. Brody is trading everyone under the sun for fucking center fielders who can't hit. Yeah, we just don't like hold on to a couple arms that might turn into something. And then those guys, I don't know what that guy Taylor is doing. Is it Blake Taylor, right? In Houston? Yeah. Apparently he's like fucking, he had a 0 ERA last I looked. I don't know if he's still fucking getting everyone out, but it's just the bullpen. And then like, if we get Steve Matz instead of Steven, and then I guess that's about it though. Pretty Ricky. The nicknames make me feel all right about him, as weird as it sounds.
Just because you have a nickname does not mean you're a good baseball player.
Yeah, exactly. But then, I think we might have mentioned this on one of those podcasts that got lost, but like, you then say DeGrom, Stroman comes back, he does Stroman fun shit, he looks good. I'm going to say, all right, can we be in the top half of the standings by the time it's all said and done? Yes. However, there's also a chance, we said, that we get back into this weekend with the Marlins. There's also a chance we're living in the Marlins Disney movie right now, and they just wipe the floor with us.
Yeah, like if you lose 2 out of 3, or God forbid get like swept by the Marlins this weekend, it's going to be an absolute kill shot to even the most positive of Mets fans, because you're playing against a like full blown minor league team right now who is in complete disarray. But baseball's stupid. Baseball's a dumb fucking sport. And literally anything's possible. If you get every now and then, if Ricky Two Freds comes out and he's the 7 innings of shutout ball, if that happens even somewhat frequently, that's going to be enough that should be enough. If Michael Wacha every now and then is good, that's more than we probably should have ever expected. What really is going to be is like the timetable on Stroman, and if there's actually a 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation that you can actually rely upon. Because like I said, Wacha and Porcello, when they have good starts, that's like found money. That's like a bonus. But what you can't have be a bonus is like your number 2. You need that to be like a actual number 2. So if Stroman can come back and even just be solid while DeGrom does otherworldly shit. I mean, dude, Jacob DeGrom, he's unbelievable. He's getting better. He's throwing 101 now. He's throwing more breaking balls. It's fucking insane that he's actually becoming a better pitcher. But if someone else could just compliment him, even like 50% of him, and then we go with the grab bag, that should theoretically be enough. It's just a matter of whether Wacha and Porcello can even somewhat contribute, and what the bullpen does after you hand on the ball.
Yeah, and the bullpen is the scariest part. Skinny Familia.
You love Skinny Familia.
I'm just going to believe it. I mean, he's doing everything of the roller coaster except like driving us into the wall. He's loaded the bases. He's had to get like help to get out of it. But if he just doesn't completely explode, I'm going to have to believe in Skinny Familia. Ed Luz Diaz is a lost cause for this shortened season. This shortened season for him, all we want to do is try to fix some of whatever's broken in that man right now. Other than that, I do not care about Ed Luz Diaz. He's out of my life. He's mentally, like, he comes in, it's a loss. It's fucking giving the victory. It's like when Herb Williams used to come in for the Knicks, but the 180. This is the victory cigar. You're giving it to the other team and saying, you're down 2. Guess what? You just won. Here's the victory from the jaws of defeat. Here you go, buddy.
Right. I mean, I am at the point where I don't even know if you can put him in as like mop-up duty. I don't even think he should be on the fucking roster, but I don't know what other options you have. What you need is Betances to be, Francesa this shit. When Betances is Betances, he's Betances, okay? Him, Lugo, Wilson, and, you patch it together with some other guys. I think that's much more reasonable than relying on Familia and Ed Luz Diaz. So, as fucking always, time is a flat circle. It's going to be the bullpen. The offense, I think, has proven to be a little bit streaky, but I think there's enough talent there to carry you. The rotation is a bit of a crapshoot, but I think we've seen flashes of competence from the back end. It's just, it doesn't matter how well you play 1 through 6, when 7 through 9 is an unmitigated disaster every night. What's the fucking point?
And the result is the fucking content of this podcast.
Mhm.
Uneven, unstable, but in the end, you gotta believe. We're so stupid.